Howdy. Today is the Gyre max investment build video. I hope you don't mind possibly hearing some chirping birds outside. It gets real hot in my room and I have the door shut right now. We need some sort of ventilation. I did a video on Gyre actually at this point it might have been like 3 months now, so I guess it is fine that I'm doing another Gyre video. Not too much has changed since then, but I'm definitely better at talking now and recording, and I have better places to show stuff off, and I have perfected the build a little bit more. On top of that, there of course have been the changes since Dante Unbound as well as Jade Shadows. This is one of two fashions for my Gyre, in case you are interested in what that is, and the one I'll be running in a second here is this one, which I actually quite like. I know it looks like there's a lot going on, but it's pretty snazzy, or at least I think it is. So, Gyre. Let us go ahead and switch to the build. Where is it? I found it. There we go. Ballet of Death. Here is what we have on Gyre. Do I want to go over the Archon shards? You know what? Actually, yeah, we'll go over the Archon shards first because that works out. So we have one Tau Forge for casting speed because the base casting speed is painfully bad. We have 2 for ability strength because not only does it give us more damage, but it makes it easier to be able to get to a full armor strip. And even after Jade Shadows, a full armor strip is still a fair bit more damage than not having a full armor strip. For example, against a corrupted heavy gunner that is level 180 Steel Path, which is the guys we'll be showing the simulacrum. We will be doing an in-mission showcase later, of course, though. But against those guys with a 2700 armor, which is the cap, they have 90% damage reduction. If we were to strip 98% of their armor, which would be like 13 corrosive procs if you're using corrosive and you have 1 Tau Forged Emerald Archon shard to add 3 stacks to the cap of corrosive procs, that 2% remaining armor ends up being like a 12% damage reduction. So if we were to strip 98% armor, compared to 100%, stripping 100% armor will end up being like a 14% damage increase, which is going to be more than if we added in another purple shard for electricity damage, right? Ability damage on enemies affected by electricity, because we already have 2. So we have 2 for strength for all those reasons I listed, and then 2 Tau Forged purples for ability damage on enemies affected by electricity, which is obviously because we do a ton of electricity procs with Gyre. That's her whole shtick, is that she does electricity procs. Now, for those that might not know, Gyre, we'll go over her abilities real quick. Her passive makes it so every electrical proc on the enemy increases the chance to deal a critical hit with your abilities by 10% per proc. No other frame can do crits with their abilities, normally at least. So this is pretty snazzy, and you're definitely going to want to make use of that as much as possible. It does have a cap of 300%. You can't go past red crits with your abilities. We have subsumed over her first ability, which is what I recommend doing because it's kind of just a worse version of your 2 for the most part. We'll be using Pillage to armor strip, and it will give us our shields back for more survivability. Coil Horizon is her second ability, which throws out what looks and honestly, as far as physics go, functions like a beach ball, the way it bounces around, and then automatically detonates and pulls enemies in while applying electricity to them. You can manually detonate it by recasting the ability as well. Her third ability, let's go back here, Cathode Grace, makes her enter a special sort of channeled mode. It's not channeled though, it's a buff that has a duration, right? Gain a brief burst of increased crit chance and energy regen, with each kill extending the duration of Cathode Grace. Casting is on a cooldown. So if you cast this and you don't keep it going from kills, you will have to wait 60 seconds to cast it again. Our goal is to keep this active 100% of the time, so you need to always be getting kills. While it is active, at base stats, it gives you 50% crit chance, which is a added value to modded crit chance, such as Point Strike and Critical Delay. It is added to both your abilities as well as your weapons, meaning she is sort of a weapons platform, and this makes it so we need less electricity procs. Like with what strength we have now, 64% crit chance, we're only going to need 14 electric procs on the enemy to get red crits. It also gives 3 seconds to the duration per kill at base, affected by duration. Also, the crit chance is affected by strength, and so is the energy regen rate, which is 1.5 energy per second at base. So it's got a pretty long casting animation, but again, we'll be keeping this active at basically all times. Finally, we have our 4 rotors well. Gyre's mechanisms spin at incredible speeds, generating an electric field that shocks nearby enemies. When Gyre gets a critical hit, a large electrical discharge will chain from the enemy that was hit to nearby enemies. Basically, you just discharge a ton of electricity. It also has a long casting speed, but now anything around us will get hit by electricity, and when we get crits, it also makes some more electricity proc everywhere. It's really, really funny and can do some absurd damage. So let's get into the build. This is what we have going on. Because we have 2 Tau Forge shards, we're able to get high enough strength to full strip with pillage if we have corrosive projection on. So with corrosive projection and 328% strength, pillage is a full armor strip. The strength other than the Archon shards, where we're getting it from, is Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, and Umbral Intensify. We have Prime Flow to increase our energy cap, Archon Stretch for more range because we want to hit as many enemies as we can, as well as more energy per second since we constantly apply electricity. So this is just another 2 energy per second on top of what we already have is 4.92. So we have 6.92 energy per second. That is going to be most of our energy economy, but we do have Arcane Energize here as well just to make sure we get enough energy. Molt Efficiency to give us a bit more duration, and because your stats snapshot on Cathode Grace and Rotors Well, you only have to have your shields when you cast these 2. That's all that matters, is that you have it when you cast these because they snapshot. Then we have Prime Continuity for more duration, as well as Boreal's Hatred for shield capacity, so we get a bigger shield gate, because we want as big of a shield gate as we can get, because we'll get all of our shields back from pillage, as well as a bit of efficiency. Prime Sure-Footed so we don't get knocked down, and the Augment Cathode Currents. It is a augment for the Cathode Grace ability. Eliminating an enemy with Cathode Grace, or while Cathode Grace is active, will release an additional discharge from Rotors Well with 200% damage, and extend the duration by the same amount. Meaning, with this, every time we get a kill, it doesn't just extend the duration of our 3, it also extends the duration of our 4, so we should only have to cast these 2 abilities once ever, and we're done. And it means every time we get a kill, it's going to do a giant electric discharge that does some big PP damage. So the more we kill stuff, the more it does damage to kill more stuff. Just chaining infinitely. That is all of it for what we have directly on her. There's not much else to explain with that. Our weapons would be the Miter Incarnon, which is here specifically for killing nullifier bubbles, because otherwise we're pretty much screwed. It does do decent damage itself, the weapon, and it can melt acolytes for the most part, so it's nice to have. We have the Furus Incarnon, but this is entirely up to the user. Whatever weapon you decide to run in your secondary slot is up to you. It doesn't really matter that much. I would recommend using one that benefits from the crit chance you get. The reason we're using Furus here is because I generally use Gyre in Void Cascade, and Furus is really good for killing the Thrax. So this is a pretty simple blast electric build on the Furus, and the reason it works so nicely is because there's an evolution on the second evolution tree for the Furus Incarnon called Stormburst. And the important part here is on hitting enemies affected by electricity status, 40% multi-shot for 2 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. And we're always going to be hitting stuff with electricity procs, so we're always going to have that stacked up. And we have blast and electricity, so we can spread electricity procs with the Furus. It just works out very nicely. But again, you can run really any weapon you want here. You could go the Cyanoid Gamma Core or something in general that has magnetic damage to melt Overguard faster, but that's up to you. Or I suppose you could also prime stuff, like with the Epitaph or Nucor. Just run around spamming Epitaph to put viral on stuff. Our melee is Prisma Oma. This is also completely up to the user. The weapons you run on Gyre are really up to you, because Gyre is going to be killing most stuff just on her own without any weapons. So for the most part, just run whatever weapons you want. But the reason I'm using Prisma Oma here would be because it has lots of electricity. You can see it's pretty good. I've done a video on Prisma Oma in the past, so I'm not going to go too in depth about what it does. But we have pure electric here, Melee influence, so we can spread the electric procs everywhere. Prime reach, of course, hit more enemies. Lots of electricity. Attack speed, status chance for even more electricity. Discipline's merit, so we can get massive Tennokai hits. And a Riven for crit chance as well as more electricity. So we're doing a lot of electric procs with our melee. Our focus school is Materai, which is very nice here because we get the extra casting speed from power transfer, which is always nice. Materai in general is very good for Void Cascade for killing the Thrax in their spectral forms. And we get Chain Sling and Sling Strength, most importantly, Sling Strength. 40% ability strength. And like I said earlier, our 3 and 4 abilities snapshot, meaning as long as we do that before we cast our 3 and our 4, we will always have the extra 40% strength on these abilities, meaning even more damage and energy regeneration and crit chance. Very, very nice to have. Next, we have our pets, which is Gyre with Hellstrom, but you can run something else, I suppose. Nautilus is an option. It depends on what you feel like you need more. Because of what our range is at, we're going to be getting up on enemies a lot, so I feel like Arc Coil's zapping stuff is very consistent for getting lots of viral procs, but if you prefer grouping, you can go Nautilus. That being said, we do already have grouping from our 2 ability on our Gyre, so it's not necessary. So our Gyre here is a pretty typical Arc Coil Manifold Bond build, Synth Deconstruct for health orbs, even though we don't have Equilibrium. This is just, I don't know, we have it because why not? Guardian for survivability, Mystic Bond for free ability casts, Duplex Bond, which is going to be important because of what our companion weapon is, and then Accelerated Deflection to help keep our companion from dying. Wait. I suppose if we don't, hang on a second. If you really wanted to fully make use of this, because we don't really need the extra health orbs, generally speaking, due to not using Equilibrium, you could use this same build, except remove Synth Deconstruct, put Duplex Bond up here, and then add Calculated Redirection, just so we get a bigger shield gate on our Gyre to help keep it from dying. So I guess you could do that instead. Then we have Hellstrom here, with a pure viral priming build. Just lots of stuff for doing viral priming, right? Like multi-shot, fire rate, status chance, obviously the elements for viral, more fire rate, and explosion radius. And because we have Duplex Bond, that's also going to make it so there's 4 of them running around, putting lots of viral procs on everything so that we get big PB damage. So let's go ahead and show it in action. After the Jade Shadows changes, it is not nearly as necessary to have Armor Strip on Gyre, but it still will obviously give you a massive damage increase, so I still recommend doing it. We'll first Armor Strip them, cast this and this, and we can then like pull them in with our 2, and they're just sort of all gonna die. That's why I gotta go into a mission to show you, because they die way too quick here. So let us go ahead and go into a mission. Oh yes, before I forget, Operator, not really important. You can run whatever you want on your Operator. We don't need energy here, we don't need, well, anything from our Operator, so do as you wish with them. Now. Yes, we are on solo, good. We will be doing a solo Netracell as per the usual, because it just works out the best to show stuff off. I gotta get a drink. Ah, sweet liquidage. Now then, let us get into this Netracell. I actually haven't even done all mine this week, so I get loot from doing this. Wow. So snazzy. Hopefully I actually get Archon shard that I need. Another yellow one that's Tau Forge would be great. Alright, let's see what buffs we have. This doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. And that doesn't really matter. Well, I guess the losing health while moving might be a bit of an issue. Yeah, we'll see. I think I should be fine as long as I kill some stuff here and there. We should be big chillin', as the kids would say. Now, getting our energy is going to be our #1 priority when we're not doing a Netracell. Obviously, because we're in a Netracell, we want to get to the zone as fast as we can. Is that the Grimoire somewhere? Well, the guy's saying the Grimoire is somewhere. But in this case, we can just use an energy pad, which is what I'm going to do once we get into the zone. Until then, I'm just going to, obviously, run around and get all the dumbass hacks or whatever, so we can find where the Netracell location is. And then you'll be able to see the massive, massive damage you can do with Gyre. So in the video I did about Gyre a few months ago, somebody left a comment that I thought was perfect. It's one of the best comments I ever read. Because in the video I said, Gyre, nobody ever plays her. I never see people playing Gyre. And the guy said that the reason people don't play Gyre isn't because she's not good. People don't play Gyre because she's too good. Because she plays the game herself. And I feel like that is a very, very accurate description of what it's like to play Gyre. She's just that overpowered. I dare say she is on the level of, like, Saren. If you are in the right scenario, of course. The benefit to Saren is she's good in pretty much any activity. Whereas Gyre strongly relies on having lots of enemies around. Because if there's not enemies everywhere, then there isn't really anything for her to do. This is yes, that was the 3rd hack. On to the Netracell. Let us hope we get a good spawn location, because if the tile set is bad, then this will be just like the Valkyrie video where we spend 10 minutes just waiting for enemies to actually enter the freaking room. Then we had the really good run, which was the Hydra video, where we had a great tile set and everything actually went into the circle. Please, oh please. Hey, you know what? This is actually a good tile set. Always make sure you do your sling strength, of course, because we want that extra, what is it? Ability strength? I don't know why I couldn't think of that word for a second there. And now everything's just gonna pretty much die. Our energy economy is very self-sufficient for the most part because we have our Cathode Brace on top of Archon Stretch, with Arcane Energized just in case we need like a boost of energy from an energy orb. So you can really spam Pillage quite often. If you need your shields back, cast Pillage. If you need armor strip, cast Pillage. If you need more milk because your dad never came back with it, cast Pillage. Pillage is always the way to go. And you can see I'm just running around killing stuff, and I'm not even using my weapon. That's why I said the weapon you run with Gyre is entirely up to you, because everything's just gonna sort of die anyways. The main issue you will have is like right here, you can see the Overguard isn't getting taken out that fast because abilities do not do very much damage to Overguard. So that is the main use I would have a weapon for when using Gyre, is just to like shred Overguard. So if you wanted, you could go an AoE weapon with magnetic damage on it. A Tenet Glaxion would actually work fairly well with a magnetic progenitor. Or Kuva Brahma with that magnetic progenitor would actually be really nice. I would like to get a magnetic progenitor on my Kuva Brahma, because right now I only have a heat progenitor on it. So I'll probably try to get around to doing that soon at some point. Hell, maybe I'll even do it today. I guess we'll see. Dude, if seeing all of the big-ass critical electric procs everywhere on every enemy that enters your death zone isn't satisfying, then I honestly don't know what is. This is just peak gameplay right here. Everything just getting murdered on its own. Now, even if you don't feel like you need to cast Pillage that often, I would recommend at least doing it sometimes. Also, I could be casting my 2 much more often than I am, because that is something that also helps. Because it pulls enemies in and it ragdolls them. And if you didn't know, ragdolled enemies count as separate body parts, and each body part counts as its own enemy for the electricity proc to chain into, meaning even more big PP damage, which is why grouping with ragdolling is so effective on her. I need to kill this guy up here. His stupid hands are giving Overguard everything, and I don't like that. I mean, everything's still dying for the most part, but regardless. Ooh, where's my shields? No! Okay, nope, see, there... I was dumb and I suck at the game. I panicked. I was fine if I actually cast Pillage in a good spot, but I fell off the map, so now we have to recast our abilities. Not the end of the world. You can see we were able to just get them back up almost immediately. So, you know, not that big of an issue. I do have nothing to deal with this Necromech unless we start building up our melee combo, which may be something worth doing. Oh, you know what? Oh, wait, we gotta get the next Necromite now. I was kind of worried about walking into the Necromech because I didn't want him to nullify me, but then I remembered the Necromechs only nullify you in Disruption, so I can't actually just start whacking the crap out of the Necromech with my melee. You know, I should be fine. Smack that dude, and now we run back over here. Straight into the zone. Where's the Necromech? He's in the air. That's suboptimal for us. Oh my goodness, look at that. When you get all grouped up and you just lightning everywhere, big PP damage. Ooh, we gotta get our shields back lest I die. There we go, see, my shields went down, I just cast Pillage and I'm fine. Oh, I did lose my melee combo, which was unfortunate. Ooh, I gotta be careful here! Yeah, see, that was what I was worried would happen. In that case though, because we're spamming the crap out of Pillage and stuff everywhere, I can just murder stuff in my operator easily. So I guess that kind of works to show that off. As long as you're spamming Pillage on everything, then if you get downed, I mean, everything's already going to be armor stripped, and it's already going to have low health and electricity procs, and you're still going to have your duplex bond companions all over the place, putting viral and everything. So you shouldn't have any issue using Last Gasp to get your kills to revive your operator. It's gonna be fairly easy to get yourself back up. This stupid Necromech is still being a pain in my ass though. Let me do this, and then I should be able to kill him with like one Tennokai attack now. No, not quite. Whack, whack, whack. Swacky, swacky, he's dead, there we go. And one more enemy we win, I think. One or two, right? Something like that. Come over here. Pull these guys in. Okay, now one more enemy. There we go. That was it. If that's not an easy Netracell run, then I don't know what is. That was so unbelievably easy. And the little AoE that goes on from here can break crates too. So it means I can just run into the room and everything breaks. I don't have to do it myself. Yay! And we love getting to be lazy around here. The less effort I have to put in, the better it is. Isn't that right? Here, give me these Iatan stars before I go grab our delicious loot that is hopefully a Tau-forged yellow Archon shard. Otherwise, I might cry. So, in other words, I'm probably going to cry. Time to speedrun to Extraction. This is actually, so far, I think it's going to be the shortest of all the max investment build videos, because this was a really fast run, and I didn't spend too much time in the simulacrum showing the build because it's very straightforward. There wasn't really too much to show off there. Dude, I'm so bad at this game. I get stuck on everything, I swear. Oh yeah, and the special animation on Gyre's dash, oh man, really gets me going. I absolutely love it. There we go. RNG be on my side. No melee duplicate, son of a bitch. I did not need a melee duplicate. That's literally worthless to me. Oh well. All that matters is you guys got to see that Gyre is insanely strong. So, that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, leave a like, subscribe, share this with somebody else maybe, and we also hit 1,000 subscribers. You guys are awesome. Adios.